Welcome to the show, everybody. Today I have for you my friend Devorah Spillman, who is a master storyteller. And I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for being on the show.
It is a pleasure and a delight.
It's so much fun to get together and to do these things and to share what we know and what we're passionate about with the audience. One of my favorite things, on this planet are stories. They come in songs, they come in movies, they come in books, really good books and poems, and they show up in our everyday lives. And stories are really essential to who we are. They're everywhere. So, can you talk about how they affect us, who we are, and our capacity to grow as a human being and to experience the spiritual world?
Okay, so I'll start with a couple thoughts for you to think about.
Okay.
So, you know how a lot of times people will say fish don't even know they're in water. Like
Yeah.
they just don't know. So, stories are like the water we swim in. Like we literally swim in an ocean of stories.
We
And
do.
but we're not even aware that we need stories to breathe. Like it's so fundamental to
Yeah.
how we know who we are as humans
Yeah.
that unless you take your attention and put it there, you don't realize that we spend, like you said, most of our lives engaged in stories.
Yeah.
And stories can just open up worlds and they can also just destroy worlds. They have really they have tremendous power. And you can think of that in stories that go out in the world. And you can also think about that in terms of what story are you telling yourself about any given moment,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
So so there are these a lot of dimensional realities to story. It's not just one thing only. As you put your attention on it, you begin to realize, whoa, this is really what is unique about humans, is the way we say stories, see stories, tell stories,
Yeah.
and how it makes us be able to feel things and know things. So it has this very all-encompassing quality that can be completely invisible if you don't
Hmm.
attend to it. Like you
100%. Yeah. Okay, and my brain's going here where it's like, I know there is a common thread where people are like, well, who am I without that story? But it's almost like we want stories. We don't want to see stuff without stories, do we?
No, no. You might want to change your story. And
Yeah.
lately, I've been thinking of this concept called
Yeah.
how do you expand into a new story? It's
Yeah.
not that we don't want any story. That's kind of the failing of the corporate world, is in a way, I like to say they said, please hang your story at the door when you come in and be
Yeah.
an automaton.
Ugh.
Comply.
Gross.
I mean, and sadly, I was in the schools a
Ugh.
long time as a storyteller, puppeteer, clown, and all that. And I wrote my undergraduate thesis on the importance of imagination in learning because sadly, a lot of our school system is also set up to have you leave your story behind, to
That is
become
really sad. It's
obedient and
terrible.
compliant and
Yeah.
so forth. And so part of what happens is as you grow and you do your work on yourself, you get to reclaim your story. Because the other thing about stories is that's really it's one of the profound ways to give over wisdom. It's not the only way, but it
Yeah.
is one of the profound ways to give over wisdom because often our struggles, which are our stories, become our wisdom, which we can all see that. If you are a
Yeah.
person listening to this summit and doing work on yourself, and your whole thing is about rewriting, right?
Hmm.
Your soul. So that's how you tell yourself a new story. How do you grow into a new story of who you are, of what's possible, so that you're not locked into the story someone told you you have to fit into, right? So, yes.
Yeah, okay. So that opens the other doorway that I have is how if we're not telling our own stories, then the character we show up as in other people's stories, how much does that affect us if we don't have our own?
I mean, look, that's what we did as kids to survive our families.
Yeah.
And we did it brilliantly at great cost. And So you do your work on yourself and you realize, oh, that's what I did to survive my family. I don't have to
Sure.
do that anymore.
Hmm.
You know, so many women that I interview and I work with work spiritual, creative, psychic, empathic, intuitive, all these things, but their families or their school system or their religious system didn't accept it. And
Yeah.
so you're smart when you're little, you shut it down to survive,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
but the good news is it's not gone. You get to have it back. And we are in extraordinary times where we can find our tribe. We can find, just like a summit like this, we can find each other and we are reclaiming that aspect of ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, that is really fun right now where it seems like there's a lot of people popping up and they're like, oh my gosh, yes, come over this way, come over this way, do this, do that. Yeah. Like you don't have to live that way.
Correct. And one of the things I often say is I work with women who are mostly midlife and older, and
Mhm.
they start this awakening. They have more energetic space in their life. They start to awaken and get really creative, and they start getting ideas. And they get into what I call the spin cycle, where it's
Hmm.
all of these ideas and everything, but it never leaves the living room.
Totally.
And the reason it doesn't leave the living room is because most of us, until you do this work, are carrying our old audience around in our head. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to bring this stuff out in the world because I remember getting slammed. And
Hmm.
so here is really a profound wisdom that came to me that I realized. And it's if something moves you, it will move your tribe.
Love that.
It's such a true thing, but
Yeah.
we don't carry that new tribe in our head. We carry the old corporate school, parents, religious institution. We carry those people in our head until you put yourself in your tribe.
Yeah.
So when I put my women, I also host a summit and I put my brand new midlife older women on my summit as featured speakers. And they're like, yeah, we're not doing that. Oh, yes, are. And I said, because the people who sign up for a summit, just like all of you watching, you want to be here.
Yeah.
You want to listen. So I'm putting people in front of other people who want to hear what they have to say. And
Yeah.
that just starts to rewire that old story. Like if you're in a group of supportive other women, if you're or mixed, I work with women, but anybody, men and women, if you're in a group where someone hears your story and they're moved by it, you
Hmm.
feel that. Like it
Yeah.
starts to rewire that old protection and you can start to let it go.
Yeah.
Right? So, I'll give you one other question. This is a
Oh,
really
oh, okay.
great one that helps you see something. So,
Okay.
answer this question, everybody watching. Have you ever been moved by someone's story?
All the time.
All the time. No doubt. No one has ever said no to that question. But here's the next question.
No, I don't want to answer this one.
Will someone be moved by your story?
Damn it. Yes, I don't want to answer
But
that.
exactly that I don't want to answer that. That almost always what I get when I say, will
Yeah.
someone be moved by your story is I get silence. They go, it
Absolutely.
has this pause because you kind of can't say no.
Hmm.
Because if you just said you're moved by someone's story, how can you say no one will ever be moved by you? You kind of can't say, but on the other hand, most people do not feel for sure that someone will be moved by their story. And that's because of a few things. You tried to tell your story when you were young, that was really true, and you got slammed. Or
Yeah.
you have someone in your family, my children think of me like this probably, who tells the same story over and over and over again. Almost every
Oh.
someone in their family who does that. And that is not what we're talking about. I am a genius storyteller. I make my profession telling stories, telling people the stories. And when my children say, Mom, you already told us that.
I get to do that all the time.
So that's not what we're talking about here.
You tell me that all the time. We know that,
My
Mom.
clients, my clients and my audiences do not say that to me.
Yeah.
So your children are
Yeah.
not your audience. Your
No.
family members are not your audience. So I am sure you have all seen speakers who tell the same story over and over and over again. You don't have
Mhm.
to. there's lots of stories you can find to tell that are really moving. And one of the things we can talk about is different kinds of stories you can tell that will move people. And how do you trust what comes to you? And how do you find your stories? How do you tell them? You know, and I get both questions. Oh, my story's not dramatic enough. Or, oh my God, my story's too dramatic. There's no such thing as either of those.
I have a girlfriend, she only tells dramatic stories. She'll take her plain life and spin it into the most dramatic thing. And I'm like, stop it. You just love drama. And she's like, I know, I love it so much. And that's one of my favorite things about her is that she loves making things a big deal. Those are her stories. Yeah. Yeah.
So there are three, I'll tell you the three kinds of stories that
Okay.
are really helpful if you're wanting to tell stories to move a group in some way. It's
Hmm.
like somewhat professional, whether you're being paid or not paid, but it's not
Hmm.
just talking to your best friend over coffee or going to your therapist.
Oh, okay.
Those are different, right?
Oh,
If you're still inside of a story and you're kind of destroyed by it, go to your therapist. You're not ready to tell it.
oh,
How, and this is what people will say to me about very hard stories that people, I almost died stories, I was abused stories,
yeah.
I was hurt stories, things like that. Here's
Fun
the
stories.
line. You
Okay.
can tell the stories of the darkness when you're standing in the light.
Ooh, that was so beautiful.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
really a deep, really true thing. If I'm
Yeah.
standing in the light, then I could tell you a story about how I got out of the darkness. You do not tell stories to complain, wallow, or blame. No blame, shame, complain. That is
Okay.
not. You tell stories to uplift, to inspire, to give encouragement, to help someone feel that they could do it too. There's
Mm,
way too much shame, blame, attack. Do not use your stories for that. You
no.
use your stories to share what moved you, and if it moved you, it will move your tribe,
Ah,
right? That moved you. And one of the things I have, this is a little tangent, and then I'll come back to the three kinds of stories. But one
okay.
of the things I have noticed in this very fraught political environment in which we live, and for me, I always say, we go up here. We lift
Mhm.
up out of that political realm up into this higher realm. But one of the things I noticed is because I'm Jewish, like, and my daughter lives in Israel, and like I lived in Israel for 5 years. So that's my story. So I
Mhm.
can talk about it and I can tell stories. I mean, I was after October 7th, I was scheduled to teach a workshop on joy. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? So I just told my story and then I said, and we get back up and I taught my workshop on joy.
Yeah.
So I realized that in these crazy times, if you tell your story that happened to you, people will be moved because if it moves you, it will move your tribe. But if you're pontificating on someone else's point of view that you know nothing about, it doesn't move people. But
No.
if you really went through something and you gained wisdom and insight and came out the other side, like I told my community when I did that, I said my synagogue community, it was a Jewish holiday called Simple Joy of Dancing with the Torah. Like it was a joyous holiday. And we heard about it on the first day of the holiday. And we had to ask our question, should we celebrate the second day of joy and dancing? And we did. And the reason we did is because you have to get back up. You have to, you can't let your negative story win. You can't let the world's negative story. You get back up. And I like to say, there's only fall down, get up. You are going to fall down if you're growing. It's just going to happen. But here's the
Yeah.
thing. The good news is if you have done a lot of work on yourself and you reflect back, you will notice you don't fall down as often, as
Yeah.
hard, or they stay down for as long, and you get up
Mhm.
more quickly with more grace and ease.
Mhm.
That's powerful because in my tradition, we don't say a righteous person is a perfect person. We say a righteous person is someone who falls down 7 times and gets up eight. Like, seriously, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
why would we ever try anything? And then we go back to being, obedient and compliant. So, so in the world of all of this stuff, your story will
Mhm.
move people if it's what really happened to you. But people are so now I'm back to how do you tell your story?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
one of the important places to go to for telling your story are what I call turning point stories. And you see a lot of entrepreneurs will use these turning point stories. And sometimes they're, I almost died, or had an awakening, or it's a moment where it was a very, like either very hard moment, like I just, two people who just told me car accident stories that changed their life. But sometimes it's, my room was filled with light all of a sudden, or sometimes or sometimes I was really hurt and I got better. I fell down, I got up. It's a turning point moment where something really strong happened to you that
Mhm.
changed the direction of your life. And
Okay.
so, because a good story told well, will always take you at some point in that story to a moment in time with sensory details. Like I can tell you, I went through infertility for 10 years and our children are adopted. Okay, that's not a story, but that's context, right?
Right. Yeah.
I could take you into an I'll never forget moment. Because then it
Mhm.
takes a moment. I can never forget. There was one morning. It was my husband had been married 10 years, and I was standing praying a certain prayer with my prayer book and, connecting to God. That's just who I am. I do that all the time. But in that moment, I realized that every day I had been praying to have a healthy child. I wasn't praying to be pregnant. I was praying to have, and in that moment, I went, who am I to say how God gives me a child? And afterwards, I turned to my husband and said, we should work on adoption. And we had done a couple sessions to kind of grieve over not being able to have our own child. We signed up with an adoption attorney. And I remember standing in that adoption attorney's office, and I had this weird intuition that our child was already conceived.
Oh, wow.
And 5 months, not 9 months, not a year, 5 months later, I was standing at the birth of our daughter.
Oh,
It's a much longer, more incredible story, but
yeah. I have
you know what I mean?
chills.
Like, I gave you enough context by saying my husband and I went through 10 years of infertility and my children are adopted. That took me like 1.5 sentences, kind of. Right?
Hmm.
So that then I could take you into this prayer moment that was a
Hmm.
turning point moment. It wasn't big or dramatic. Nothing fell down from the sky, didn't almost die, but it was a turning point moment. So I can tell you it as a story. And then I just added the standing at the attorney's office just to show where that moment led us
Yeah.
without and then it's a much, much bigger story because
Yeah.
many other things happen to make it very miraculous, but I don't have to tell all of it
Hmm.
if I have like a couple minutes like I do now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? I think as women we get caught up in too many details a lot of the time, and like they're just we go all over the place instead of sharing like those key turning points. Yeah.
And it will help you if you take that into the turning point means it moved you. Like in
Right.
that moment, I went, oh, I had like an aha moment.
Yeah.
I had some
Yeah.
kind of an awakening, like, wait a minute, what have
Hmm.
I been praying for? And who am I to say how God has to answer my prayer? It was just like a kind of one of those, and
Yeah.
the standing in the attorney's office was one of those intuitive moments that turned out to be true.
Yeah.
Right. So point stories are a really good place to start. And um, they're moving and like women who work with me, like I have an 8-week course on it, they learn how to find them and
Hmm.
trust them and then have the courage to tell them. I've had women who, both on my shows and in my groups, tell stories they've never told in public before because they
Oh, wow.
finally understood how to be empowered and visionary from the story, like how they've come out the other side and they're stronger, clearer, brighter, doing better. So
Hmm.
that's one. Then there's stories from your past, because
Hmm.
sometimes your childhood stories are like metaphors for your whole life. Like one of my clients, we did finding
Sure.
stories from your past, and she told how she remembered washing her hair in the rain as a kid. And the whole way she organized it and the smell of it and actually in the rain, just the whole thing. It was so her. She was a Waldorf teacher for years and now she's a coach and does sound healing. It was so her. So sometimes your childhood stories are metaphors for who you have always been at your essence. There are some are also some are what you've gotten up out of,
Hmm.
right? Depending. And
Yeah.
then there's what I call everyday stories, which are those just stunning moments where a butterfly lands on your hand,
Yeah.
where you lock your keys in the car and the back door is unlocked. Like
Oh,
just
thank
small
goodness.
moments that if
Hmm.
you slow yourself down enough, you can capture a small moment
Hmm.
and feel how appreciative you are of it, how it stopped you in your tracks. I like to call
Hmm.
it looking for the extraordinary and the ordinary. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
dramatic like your friend necessarily, but
Love her. Yeah.
moving, and it allows you to have fresh content. So those are
Hmm.
three kind of ways to think of finding stories. And I guess the other area is the powerful use of image and metaphor, which we
Mm.
can experience a little bit because at some point we'll do a guided process and people can get a feeling because you can use my guided process to find stories from your past, but you can
Yeah.
also use it to get very high level, higher guidance using
Ooh.
image and metaphor. And then you
Yeah.
can put those together.
Do we do that now?
Sure. Want to do that
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Yes. I'm like, you're saying it, so I want to do it now.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm not good at waiting for stuff.
Well, what's important about this in the work I do is that your brain has to come along for the ride. You cannot
Yeah.
ignore it completely. But if all you ever do is use what I call your try harder mind, you
Hmm.
won't get to the good stuff.
Do you see my shirt? It says try harder.
It says try
Try harder.
harder.
That's for you today.
Right. But you can't figure out all of your creative spiritual wisdom by just thinking harder about it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to use another part of our knowing.
Hmm.
That's the subconscious, the intuitive. But the
Hmm.
question is, I can't try harder to think of that. So this
No.
process will show you one, there's lots of techniques for doing this, and you'll see my simple creative one for doing it. So
Yeah.
my whole company is called In Story. So going into your story, it's called the In Story way of doing it your way. The guided process has the acronym STATE, and they'll get this in their free gift and that. So just don't worry about trying to write it down, figure it out. Just go ahead and close your eyes and
Okay.
just trust the process. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I gotta have both earbuds in for this one.
Okay. Good. All right. So close your eyes and just begin to notice your breath coming in and out. And really allow yourself to feel that shift to stillness and feel a sense of breathing bigger than your physical self. And then allow your awareness to shift to that flow from above and feel your connection to God, to Source, the universe, and feel that pure light from above coming down to the top of your head, filling your whole body, your whole being with light, love, healing, blessing, guidance, clarity, down through your feet into the earth, grounding you in the earth. And breathe up that solid, rooted, comforting energy of the earth into the center of your being. And be aware of being in that state of connected flow. This is always the first step of the in-story guided process. It has the acronym STATE. So that first S is always stop and breathe until you're in that state of connected flow. Now, the second step is think about it. And this is the way we set sort of like the GPS, the direction of the process. And so there are many things we do here. Sometimes we clear things, we ask specific things. So for today, since just for a general introduction, I want you to start first with the ground of gratitude. I like to have everybody feel like gratitude is like the ground of your being. No matter what you're going through, you have parts of your life for which you are deeply grateful, that you feel thankful, you feel blessed. So take a moment and feel that deep gratitude. It's like the ground of your being. And just feel that sense of emanating from that place. And then I want you to add for that a sense of appreciation, which is kind of different. I want you to appreciate yourself, your gifts. What are you good at? I want you to take a moment to be proud of yourself. There are other times where we clear away all those negative voices. It's not their turn right now. Right now, it's you just tell them to shut up. It's your turn to just appreciate yourself. Think of what are you good at? What do you love to do? What are you proud of that you've created or said or done in your life and in the world? Just take a moment and appreciate yourself and your gifts and feel what are you good at? Just let yourself appreciate that. We often don't do that. And now the next two steps always go together. This is ask and trust. And this is what allows you to receive content that outsmarts your ego resistant mind. So you're going to ask, I'm going to tell you what to ask in just a second, and then you're going to trust the first thing you get, no matter what it is. So what I want you to do is you're going to ask, what is an image or a metaphor for who I am and what I do in the world? An image or metaphor for my gifts, my essence, what my greatness, my uniqueness. However you want to ask it, you ask what's an image or a metaphor for who I am and what I do in the world. And here's the key. You have to trust the first thing that popped into your mind, no matter what. If you went through, oh no, not that, not that, not that, go back to the first thing you got, no matter what it was. If you get nothing, make something up. Just make it up. It's just a different feeling than it popping into your mind, but it's the same thing. This is the work of what I call spiritual imagination. It's the intersection of that high spiritual guidance and your creative imagination. So just allow yourself to trust the first thing you get, no matter what it is. The last step is explain, interpret. Get a feeling of what does this mean? Like, how am I like this image? How is it like me? What does it seem to be about? Does it have a message for me? What's the feeling of it? If it's something very beautiful to you, then just breathe it in and receive it. If it's unclear, you can use ask and trust again. You can ask, is there something else for me to see, know, hear, feel, understand about this image? And then always trust the first thing you get. So just take a moment and see where it leads you. Does it get, the more detailed it gets, the more it will reveal to you. And so just allow it to unfold in any way that it does. Just take a moment for that. And we're just going to take a short moment now, but know you can come back to this image. You can come back to this process. Always trust what you get. And now just begin to bring yourself back into the moment. Just begin to come on back, breathe yourself back into your chair, feel your body in the space you're in, wiggle your fingers, stretch your arms a little bit. And then when you're ready, come back, open your eyes. And those of you you're just pause the recording and write what you got. We're not going to pause it right now because we're live, but those of you watching the recording, just pause the recording and I encourage you to write down what you got. And you'll have a thread in this summit where you can share what you got because we'll respond and will be fun to see. But to help us all out in understanding how this works, Tanya, will you share what you got for your image?
I get to be the guinea pig and I love it.
Yep, yep.
Yes, I can. And I've been fortunate enough to do this process twice. And I will say my brain tried to negate the first thing I got. It was like, no, no, go to this image. And I'm like, no, no, you have to do the first one. I got butterfly.
Yep. So
Yeah.
say more. Describe
Oh,
it.
okay. So I got butterfly and then I had to, well, and then I got to do an internal battle with my brain, which it was like, no, it's not Phoenix, it's butterfly. And it was like, show me what's going on here, show me why. And so
Yeah, it happened.
so for me, for a really long time, one of my favorite parts about me is how much of a warrior I've been and how strong I've been and how honestly how fighty I am, right? Like I've loved that about me. And this was so in and that's more of a Phoenix thing, right? But this one was something like it's like no, there's a softer part, something that's more accessible to like land on a kid's nose, and there's intricacies and delicacies of a butterfly that just like a phoenix doesn't have. And it's just like that kind of softer, more fluttery side. That's that's a really great part to love as well, not just the fighty, spicy part.
Well, and it's interesting because both of those
Hmm.
images are have a process of transformation,
They both
right?
do. Yeah.
Right. So, the butterfly I do a whole teach on goes from the caterpillar to the cocoon, and in that cocoon it turns to goo.
Hmm.
No one likes to be in the goo, and you have to go through that. It's like it's such a symbol. And
Yeah.
the butterfly has to press its way out of that chrysalis. Like it still has that fierceness because there's like apocryphal
That's
story about a boy who tried to let the butterfly out and it died because its wings weren't strong enough.
yeah.
Right. So there's still this push to come out of the chrysalis to be the butterfly. So there's still like that place that it has
Hmm.
to also be strong, even
Hmm.
though it's delicate. If we
Yeah.
think it's all one or the other, but it's not, right? Like it
Oh,
has to also be strong in order to come out and fly.
it really does.
It has, and it's more ordinary even though they're so extraordinary butterflies, but it's more ordinary than the phoenix.
Hmm.
No one I know personally has seen a phoenix.
Yeah.
Right? So you're in another domain, but you were like, no, come back and own the power
Hmm.
of this wondrousness in this life, in this world, in this moment. Right.
Hmm.
And that it's not too delicate and too small. And it's not like this thing, like I have to be a phoenix. I have to
Yeah.
burn in the fire and reemerge. And
Oh, yeah.
or like, but most of us, it's I have to turn into goo, which I don't like. And I did not quit to goo, and I feel all
Yeah.
stuck. And
Yeah.
then when I feel that I have become something great, then there's some kind of barrier. No. And then you have to push through that barrier. And then, oh my gosh, I'm a butterfly. How did
Mhm.
that happen? How did
Mhm.
all that goo and all that struggle turn me into a butterfly?
Mhm.
Wow. It's so beautiful. And when you get an image as a host of a summit, you
Mhm.
hold it for the whole summit as well.
Nailed it.
Right? So, yes, there's this Phoenix warrior fire energy. Like that's not gone. But
Ugh.
most of us live our
Mhm.
lives going from the caterpillar to turning into goo to the butterfly. And, like
Mhm.
I did a whole training on this, how to get out of the goo, because it's
Oh, okay.
really the three steps of all creative endeavor.
Mhm.
And it's even literally how God made the world, because God says, in the beginning, there was the heavens and the earth. So that's vision.
Mhm.
And then there's chaos. That's literally what it says. Then the whole world was chaos. That's the
Mhm.
second step. And then God says, let there be light. That's the vision. The
Mhm.
caterpillar, the chrysalis, the butterfly. Chaos, vision, chaos, the goo, and
Mhm.
manifestation. So
Mhm.
you pull the butterfly to allow you to own your total expansion energy. But in this simple, in this, in the, in, and you say like you like it to be simple. So it's kind of simple,
Mhm.
but it's profound. And we often stop noticing that.
Yeah. Yeah. There is. Babies do it really well.
Yeah,
Everything's profound to them.
right,
Everything, right? Yeah. And we get numb to how amazing the dust floating in through the window is.
right, right.
Yeah.
And so so for you, it's like you said to yourself, oh, I don't have to be a phoenix warrior. I can be a butterfly,
Hmm.
which is this just total, unbelievable, magical, wondrous, gorgeous, beautiful thing. Just saying.
I love that. Thank you.
So this is part of what happens when you do this work. You will get an image or metaphor, but if you can share it with someone, the feedback that you have back and forth is really significant.
This feedback, it's not that it was better, but it was like it makes it so much more than just the vision itself. Like the feedback, it takes it to a whole different level.
Right, right. And this is
Yeah.
part of what we also do for each other is
Yeah.
we help see. Like I often say we're a little invisible to ourselves. I spend
Hmm.
a lot of my time when I do coaching just saying back to people what I see that's already there and they're just not seeing it.
Hmm.
And that thing of seeing and being seen, like on one hand, it's like helping them come out of hiding and dare to
Hmm.
be seen for who you really are. And the other is seeing them and having them feel seen for that beauty and greatness and natural, unique creativity, whatever it is, that we're so hard on ourselves.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah. Talk about stories. Oh yeah. Nobody's harder on you than you.
right. And so when you are in, like when women come into either my whole year
Mm.
or my 8 weeks and they say something, they're sort of they say their image and someone else is like, oh my gosh, I love that. I feel that. Or they tell their story. When I recently created an 8 week course called the Soul Story course. And at the end, we have what I call a recital. Like I like to pick the old names, and we have a
So
storytelling
cute.
recital, and everyone has
Yeah.
to tell a 10-minute story. And they are so amazed that the other women are so moved by their
Yeah.
story.
Wow.
And everyone is sitting there going, how is this happening? Like we forget how moved we are by each other's stories. We don't have to be some famous movie star or a novelist. Your life is something so unique and extraordinary, and you have real wisdom. Once women get into their midlife and their and older, I have women in their 80s who've come into my programs. I'm like so impressed. But we have something to say.
They do. They have the coolest information.
We have something to say.
Yeah, they do.
and
Yeah.
and we have wisdom
Oh
and
yeah.
and I think in our culture in a lot of ways wisdom has been downgraded as in value, like we
Hmm.
want people to just know new things. And I realize that there are kind of, if you, this is a tip that will help you, all of you watching, feel that you really do have something to say, because there's three kinds of wisdom.
Mm.
And so I was teaching, anyway, it came to me one time and when I was teaching and I went, oh, wow. There's what I call lived wisdom, which is what we're
Hmm.
talking about. This is your life experience, right?
Hmm.
What has
Hmm.
happened to you? How have you learned life lessons? And there's tremendous wisdom that comes from your lived wisdom. But sometimes people think that's it. There's all I have is my lived wisdom. No, you forget. You have your learned wisdom. You have learned a ton. Just
Oh
ask
yeah.
yourself, how many courses have you taken?
A
Just
lot.
saying. You are smart. You've
Yeah.
taken a lot of courses. You have studied things. You are smart. You have learned a lot. Your learned wisdom matters. And
Hmm.
then there's what I call your let in wisdom or your intuitive wisdom. And this is
Hmm.
the one that's very underdeveloped, trusted, and valued.
Mm.
Your intuitive wisdom, it's just like I have really good intuitive wisdom when someone tells me an image or metaphor like we just did. Like that's like my intuitive wisdom. You say it and I'm like, oh, this is what this is for you. Like that's my, but someone else has intuitive wisdom on how to make music or how to make art or how to
Hmm.
heal somebody. But mostly that's the part that got shut down
Hmm.
in the past. We didn't find people who valued that. I interviewed so many empaths and what they went through, and intuitives like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you need to get that back.
Hmm.
Right. So doing all these kind of guided process works, all these things that get you to get quiet and
Hmm.
get into what I call it the state of connected flow, all of those things and the way they come to you, that's your wisdom. And if
Hmm.
you combine these three together, what you've lived, what you've learned, and your intuition, you realize, oh, I can't pretend I have nothing to say. Like you just can't pretend that you don't know anything because it's just not true.
It's not. No. No. Not even close.
Right. But but you have to re-own it. as
Yeah.
having value because we had to shut it down and hide to survive our lives.
Yeah.
I have women who are in the corporate world who are learning to come out of the hiding in that world and bring this into that world. It's
Mm.
really powerful. You have to translate for them, but it can be done.
Yeah. Yeah, corporate world, it's not a world I know. I know the more artistic world, but it seems like a place that would really benefit from the intuition of women.
Mhm.
Yeah, the softening of women, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like it would be really fantastic. Now, I love speaking to you. You're like time goes by so fast when you hang out with Deborah, right? Like it's like, wow, oh my gosh. But I also want to give you space to talk about to expand on the like the free gift that you have for people. And I know there's like also a special offer too. So you want to go a little bit onto those so everybody
Right.
knows.
Sure. So one of the ways that you and I connected was through what I call my blessing from the trees.
Oh, I love the blessings from the trees. I
So,
forgot
all
to
right,
mention
tell them
those.
why you love those, and then they'll tell them what they get. No.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know I get to open my emails and you'll send the blessings through of the trees. And I'm not somebody normally who reads emails, but like I look, I click, I delete. But when I'm like, yes, blessing from the trees, it's just like this fantastic little pause in my day where I get to feel connected to a tree and to be like, oh my gosh, yes, I can feel this stuff, but it's really great seeing somebody write it too. Yeah, I love those.
What? So this is what happened to me is a really good example of trusting your intuition because
Mm.
a few years back, I walk in the forest all the time. I live in Portland, Oregon, and one day I like just had this like download and it was like this
Mhm.
blessing from the trees and I recorded it. I think then it was even into audio at the first one. I'm like, wow, that was like I felt, oh, this moved me. And then I
Mm-hmm.
remembered my own saying, if it moves you, it will move your tribe. I'm like, oh, I can't tell them I like received a blessing from the trees. Like that's like so woo-woo. I'm like, I mean, I am kind of woo-woo and proud, but still, it's like, but I sent it because I took my own medicine. And of course, they loved it. And then I started doing it in writing. I talk into typing into my phone. So I
Oh.
stand and I just get really still. And I have learned to trust. This is trusting that inner guidance, that higher guidance, that
Hmm.
flow. I stand, I find a spot, I stand really still. And I say, I talk into typing in my phone. And um, and I say I'm standing in this spot, wherever it is, and then I just start to talk, like whatever comes through me. Like
Hmm.
I just start to talk, and I just goes into typing, and then I edit it, and then I send it out. I just edit it to clean it up, but I don't change it. And but I wouldn't have sent it to my list if I hadn't said to myself, if it moves me, and I was like amazed by what came out of me. I was like, how did that come out of me? So I want all of you to be able to trust this. So the blessing from the trees will do two things for you. It's my free gift. It's going to give you some of those blessings in writing and in audio, and you'll have a form if you want to ever print it out. But I'm also giving you along with that my guided process, just an audio recording of this guided process, a version of what you just heard, so that you can begin to trust your own intuition.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the free gift, just so that you can start. But
Mm.
if you really want to take this work and go deeper and be more serious with it, I'm giving you three things that will give you a sense of opening up to this more expanded consciousness and then trusting what you get and shaping it. So one of those is called the five steps to soul story creation. And it's taking how we create our soul's purpose using the metaphor of how a human is created. It's this
Okay.
mystical teaching that I read and then I turned it into a teaching. And then the wisdom series is using how to use stories as metaphors. And the newest one that I'm putting in there is so AI. Let's just roll our eyes and also open our eyes. So for
Yeah.
the spiritual crowd, there's this push-pull relationship, just even in the world of ChatGPT.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I got a very cute line that is rhyming, but it's true, which is First connect on high, then connect with AI. And
Oh.
I created just a one video training on how to do that. And I teach into what came to me about how to engage with ChatGPT in a way that feels spiritually honoring
Hmm.
and is supportive of my creative expression. And
Oh.
then I lead you through another guided process and talk to you about how to put what you got from your guided process into your ChatGPT and then shape it into an elegant form. And
Ooh.
one of the women who's been with me for many years, she's in her late 70s. She was an expressive arts therapist, very spiritual. I'm not doing AI. That's what
Yeah.
she said. It's artificial. I'm not doing it. But she trusts me. She's been with me a long time. And she said, okay, if Devorah says it's okay, I'm going to do it. She
Okay.
did that whole training and she recorded what she got from the guided process into ChatGPT, and it just cleaned it up kind of for her. And she shared it with her writing group, and they said, can we all have a copy of that? We love that.
Wow.
She was completely blown away
Wow.
because she was so afraid to engage with it at all. But
Yeah.
because she connected on high first with her own guided process and she put that pure content from her into ChatGPT, she wasn't asking ChatGPT to replace her creative spiritual guidance, but it saved a ton of editing time.
Yes, absolutely. Like this deserves a round of applause because it's you're the creative. That's like the cleaning machine that so you don't have to edit bazillion things. Yes.
But it's so important
Yeah.
that you remember this first connect on high because
Yeah.
ChatGPT is created to be very positive, like positive psychology. So it's hilarious. Like it never gets mad at you that you didn't call. It doesn't get mad at you that you go on and on and on. It never
Mhm.
gets upset with you, and it's always ready to talk to you. And it's very seductive.
It
It's
is.
weirdly seductive
Mm-hmm.
and wonderful and it's like it's very complicated, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not going away and it can really help you
It
as
can.
long as you get yourself in a clear centered space so that
Mm-hmm.
you're leading.
Mm-hmm.
So the combination of these three things in this special package will really give you an ability to go deep with your soul story, your purpose, feeling a sense of confidence about how might you want to shape your unique gifts. And
Yeah.
throwing in the chat GPT, the spirituality and AI will help you to take what comes to you in the other work and put it into chat GPT. Like watch the spirituality and AI maybe first when you get the package so that you're not
Yeah.
afraid. If you're already an active ChatGPT user, then just go.
Yeah.
Yalla, just keep going. But if you're not, start with that and then take each little video by itself. Each one will have a guided process somewhere along the way. And you're going to start having things come to you, stories, images, metaphors, and follow along with them. Like if you do that, it will lead you to content that is powerful, unique, and meaningful that you will then be able to share in writing, in speaking, in teaching, whatever it is you're doing, and it will be very unique and authentic to you. And that's it. Like that's our thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fantastic package. Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And I
think.
love, yeah, I love that there's two different places, right? It's like you can start here, you can go here, you can do them both, you can do one. And where can they get a hold of you if they just want to find out more about you?
Go to my name, Devorah Spillman, and you'll find my website there. But start with the free gift, and then if you want more, get the package because it will allow you to get started. All of
Yeah.
these things will allow you, the free gift will allow you to get started, and the soul story package will allow you to go deeper, to feel like you actually can keep going and create something. It's really easy to get inspired and then get distracted.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
But it takes your life in a whole different direction when you get inspired and you take action.
right. And
Yeah.
you just stay like, stay connected. So, when
Yeah.
people are in my world, if you get the free gift, you'll be on my email list. So when I host a summit, you'll be able to follow that. When I
Yeah.
launch something that's 8 weeks, you'll see that. When you want something big, like you'll know how to take a next step.
Hmm.
But if you're feeling called, the key is to say yes to a step, to feel
Yes.
what you have to say has value.
Yeah. Yeah. Just keep saying yes to the one thing that pops up in front of you. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute blast to talk to
Likewise, my favorite subject, so it's awesome. Thank you so much for
you.
inviting me. I hope people are inspired to trust that you get to talk about your favorite subject too.
Ooh, oh, I hope so. I hope so. Yes. And again, yes, thank you to the audience for watching, and we will see you on the next show.
Yay.